as long as we understand. My name is Betsy Cantwell. I'm the Senior Vice President for Research and Innovation here, and I'm going to start us off with our land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the University of Arizona is on the land and territories of indigenous people. Today, Arizona is home to 22 federally recognized tribes, with Tucson being the home of the O'odham and the Yaqui. Committed to diversity and inclusion, the university strives to build sustainable relationships with sovereign native nations and indigenous communities through education offerings, partnerships, and community service. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this building, and then we have a series of speakers. I'm particularly excited because I got to inherit this vision, and the vision happens to be an incredible approach to a building which will be completed in 2024, 7 stories, state-of-the-art, leveraging a large number of the university's core strengths, slotted right into our strategic plan, Pillar 2. And I'm saying all of this because the vision actually started before we had a strategic plan. It started before many of us were here. And so it's really the kind of thing that's embedded in who we are at the University of Arizona. Every inch of this building was designed, purpose-built for collaboration amongst a variety of different disciplines here at the university. It'll be equipped with laboratories, flexible research space for cross-campus interactions, including the new Center for Quantum Networks, which you'll hear more about, some offices, accessible lobby space, including a cafe, open learning environments and meeting rooms also on the first floor. So it's going to be not just a beautiful space, but one that we have the opportunity to use in ways that the 21st century is asking higher education to use their spaces. So it's not only going to be cutting edge research, there will be innovation programs in this building, student engagement and instruction. I hope Dean Koch will give us a little bit of information about that, and continued faculty growth in the James C. Wyant College of Optical Sciences. I'd venture to say that even as we appreciate the diversity of the kinds of problems that interest and motivate us, we believe that, and one of sort of our uniting beliefs is that society's most pressing needs and issues are dynamic. So this building was built not just to serve what we want to do and our students and faculty want to do today. When it's done, it will serve our faculty, our students, and any of our campus colleagues for 50 years to come. So that's extremely exciting to me. I'd like to turn things over for just a little bit to Robert C. Robbins, who's president of the University of Arizona. Bobby, do you mind coming up? I've got your remarks here if you'd like. Otherwise, you can do that.
Thank you, Dr. Cantwell, and good morning. I think you're the only one who calls me Robert. Not even my grandmother did, but I do have remarks that I'm going to read, but then I'd like to give some remarks after in the overage time. So certainly, as Dr. Cantwell mentioned, this building has been a priority of the university for quite some time now, and I know it's been a vision for Jim for a long time, and Dean Koch. I'm sure you know the Fourth Industrial Revolution is a convergence of biological, digital, and physical technologies. And of course, it's still in its early stages, but we have a unique opportunity and responsibility, I think, to drive this change and shape how we live, work, and relate to each other. Our strategic plan prioritizes building a well-rounded innovation ecosystem, which is one of the ways the U of A is driving the fourth IR, to ensure technological innovation is human-led and human-centered. This building will expand our infrastructure to advance research that falls under many initiatives in our evolving and growing strategic plan. One example, as Dr. Cantwell mentioned, and she should have probably talked about this, she knows it much better, or Tom should, because I barely know what quantum means, but an example is quantum technologies and convergence in the fourth IR initiative, which is intended to become a focal point for strategic thinking and creative innovation in quantum science and engineering. Another example is the advanced technologies in healthcare. So we've been talking about how a floor of this building would be shelled out, but we want to actually build it out as we're building it. Because I don't like the shelling concept, Jim. I like, go ahead and just build it out while we can. Just requires money, Regent Shootman, that's all, just money. The advanced technologies in healthcare, we were talking about the possibility of some of the health sciences coming and working together across campus around bioinformatics, digital health. Just think about, you know, how much healthcare is being delivered on the iPhone. I mean, I've got heart surgeons who are looking at coronary angiograms on their iPhone, calling their patients, FaceTiming with them, and scheduling the operation. The first time they see them is when they're rolling into the operating room. So that's going to become more commonplace. And I think a building like this brings together engineering, optical science, and the health enterprise together. This building will also help us expand our interdisciplinary research capability in areas such as optics, quantum computing, advanced communications, and biomedical technologies. I'd like to once again highlight and thank Dr. Seikat Gua. I always have trouble with his name. Seikat Gua. Still don't have it right. But he's an incredible talent, and his team secured this impressive leadership role from an NSF Engineering Research Center grant for the Center for Quantum Networks. CQN aims to lay the foundation of the quantum internet, and I do understand that part, which will revolutionize how humankind computes, communicates, and senses the world. This award and the work it enables places Arizona at the forefront of quantum network technologies. I don't think we can overstate that too many times. I mean, right here in this place, this is going to be the leading edge of, if it works out, in the analogy that I've been told, 1980s investment in the internet, think where we would be today if we didn't have the internet and couldn't have had Zoom to do classes. Research like this creates worldwide impact in two interrelated ways, through new discoveries and technologies, and an incubator for student learning, training, and workforce development. So my understanding, Jim, is that there are Fortune 50 companies that flock to this place, and they're really enamored by all the research that goes on here, but what they're really after are your students, all the people you're training, because they want to hire them and take them back to make the world a better place in their own way. So as Dr. Cantwell said, you know, we inherited this vision. Often use the baseball analogy. I'm not sure how many Red Sox fans there are here, but you know, sorry, Jim. The Yankees look like they're gonna. But you know, the analogy is that we all hit triples and landed on third base, but we're actually just pinch runners carrying this vision forward. And now we'll get to hear from the real visionaries and the people who make a difference. I said to Jim when I was looking out, you know, Jim, it's going to block a beautiful view of the stadium from here. And he said, yeah, but it's going to cover up the back of this building, which he's never liked. So with that, I'll turn it over. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Robbins. I want to say just two things about what you'll hear, I hope, from some of the rest of our speakers. This won't take all morning, I promise you. But this is called the Grand Challenges Building, and there's a couple things about Grand Challenges. We've sort of got some taglines, building the impossible. Why is that rational for a Grand Challenges Building? Because the whole concept of grand challenges is that they exist for a long time. They're really intractable. They are large, multidisciplinary, and they're the kind of thing that we have research at universities specifically to solve. We're not a company. We're not an applied research lab. We're a university. So our faculty and administrators all have their own ideas about building the impossible and grand challenges, but I've asked the speakers today to sort of at least give you a hint in their own minds of what they see in terms of those challenges and how the occupants of this building will solve those challenges. So I'm going to introduce Provost Liesl Folks, who's our Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and also a Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering. As our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Folks oversees 16 colleges and 24 schools, as well as academic affairs, faculty affairs, libraries, university technology services, Arizona Global and Student Services, so just a tiny little portfolio. Her role also includes implementation of the strategic plan for the university and ensuring that we demonstrate excellence as we implement that strategic plan. Which is, and this building's flexibility underscores meant to be a living and breathing plan for our university. Very briefly, prior to serving in this role, Dr. Folks was the Dean of the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences at the University of Buffalo. I'm pretty sure she came here for the climate, where she built a really significant reputation and I'm also an engineer, in my clan, if you will, as a champion for women and underrepresented minorities in science. During her leadership at UB, Dr. Folks led rapid growth of the engineering school, adding 75 faculty, 2,700 students, and growing research expenditures by 35%. So she also holds a bunch of patents. She is the perfect person to talk about the implementation and importance of this building to our university. Dr. Folks.
Thank you, Betsy, and thank you everybody who's come out to mark this memorable event as we break ground on this new building. Betsy mentioned our strategic plan, and I want to point to that for a moment. This building really embodies the goals of Pillar 2 in our strategic plan. The building itself will expand educational opportunities and help us to address societal challenges by allowing our students and faculty to be together at the cutting edge in their fields, working side by side. I want to just point for a moment to the importance of allowing our students to engage in research, to experience how to do research and how to do science in particular. This is tremendously important. It's obviously important for our graduate students who couldn't do their work otherwise. But I want to also point to the aspirations that Betsy and I have for engaging undergraduate students in research within spaces like this building. And that's not always easy. But it's so powerful because it allows us to support our students to, in their transformation from being knowledge consumers to being knowledge creators, which is what we want for all of our graduates. We want them to go out in the world and lead in their disciplines, to have new thoughts, develop new products, and to save, frankly, us from many of our grand challenge problems. They can do this if they work side by side with our faculty and see how new knowledge and new artifacts are created and learn that process via experiential learning. So this new building aligns with our other significant investments in student research. Betsy's office and my office are partnering with our 100% engagement team already to greatly expand the number of undergraduate research experiences that are available for our students. That is no small task at an institution this big. We will very likely have by October 50,000 students at this university, which is a milestone for us. But it brings us this enormous challenge. And how do we scale? How do we make research experience available to every one of our undergraduate students so they see firsthand how to be a knowledge creator or somebody who can create new artifacts, of course, in the case of our amazing, amazing artists in fine arts. So this is a key part of that. The design of the building is such that we will be able to bring in not just one student at a time, but many students to work in teams across disciplines to address big problems. I want to point out too that it's intimately connected to our other big project to support student success, which is the Student Success District. And if you haven't already been into the Bartlett Success Building, please do. It's amazing, and that you'll see still construction wrapping around Bear Down Gym. That will be the final piece of the Student Success District coming together. So with this entire sort of corner of the university being transformed over a period of 4 or 5 years now, we really will have a focal point for our students to know that this is the door you come in and find your path to that understanding and experience that will turn you into a leader as you exit from your undergraduate studies here at the University of Arizona. And that is not to diminish the work that will be done by graduate students, but I think that's something that we're already doing an extraordinary job of, and I will hope that when Dean Kirk makes his remarks, he points to some of the extraordinary leaders that his college has already produced from their graduate programs. They've had a remarkable impact in the world. I won't take up any more time. I know everybody has busy days to get off to. I'll hand the podium back to Betsy. Thank you all for being here and supporting us in this effort.
Thank you for that, Liesl. I will say, as I spend time in Washington since I've come to the University of Arizona, I am amazed at how many people in high positions in the government have their doctorate not only from the University of Arizona, but from the College of Optics in the University of Arizona. It's really, really interesting. I'm making a list. So next, we are going to hear from Dr. Tom Koch, who is the Dean of the University of Arizona's James C. Wyant College of Optical Sciences. In addition to serving as the college's dean, Dean Koch also serves as a professor of optical sciences and of computer and electrical engineering. Prior to joining us here at the University of Arizona in 2012, Dean Koch spent many years at Bell Labs and held research and development vice president positions at SDL, Lucent, and Agira, where he was responsible for both research as well as optical and IC technology platform development. Between 2003 and 2011, Dean Koch served as the director of the Center for Optical Technologies at Lehigh. He received a PhD in applied physics. I don't know why they wanted me to say the year, but from Caltech, and has a really august publication and patent record. He's also a member of the National Academies of Engineering and has been recognized in many ways for his contributions to semiconductor optoelectronics, photonic integrated circuits, and optical fiber communications. Welcome to the stage, Tom.
Well, that was much too long an introduction. Well, on behalf of the faculty, staff, and students of the Wyant College of Optical Sciences, I can say it's thrilling for all of us to see this building project getting underway. And the college has been really fortunate over the years to benefit from incredible support in our mission of education, research, and industry partnership in the field of optics and photonics. This has included unprecedented philanthropic support, most recently to grow our faculty by 13 new endowed chair faculty positions through the James C. Wyant Endowed Chair Initiative. And now, by creating this new Grand Challenges Research Building, the University of Arizona is providing a future home for these new faculty and their students as we expand our mission. So we look forward to attracting more remarkable and visionary individuals to light the future by leveraging these investments and also leveraging the well-deserved reputation of the Wyant College of Optical Sciences. Many people that we run into don't seem to really understand what it is we do here in the college. I think they assume we're making eyeglasses. But they don't realize what we're really doing is cutting-edge fundamental research in quantum optical physics, or that we're home to all the Nobel Prize winners that have been at the University of Arizona. And they don't appreciate the technologies that we pioneer propel advances into biomedical diagnostics, or help to fabricate the largest telescopes ever made in history for fundamental discovery in our universe, or that we help to fuel the internet through our research on fiber optics and chip-scale integrated photonics, and now, as you'll hear soon, with quantum photonics. And people don't realize also how much our faculty and students improve your everyday lives. One of our faculty, Jim Schwigerling, has created a new multifocal lens implant for cataract surgery that's now improving the vision for literally millions of people around the globe. And some of our students become business savvy. One of our students, Zirk Potter, is a COO of a small startup company that you've all heard of, BioNTech, the developer of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine that saved the lives of countless millions around the globe. One of our students, Jack Jewell, used his PhD research that he did here to invent a new microlaser that's now overwhelmingly become the most widely deployed laser in history. Each iPhone ships with about 300 of Jack's lasers in it. And it was another of our students that used Jack's technology to develop Apple's iPhone face recognition system that you carry around with you now in your pocket. So these are really good examples of where things are going. And we're especially excited about the central role that optics and photonics holds in the future of the fourth industrial revolution. As human beings, we're increasingly extending ourselves beyond the confines of our body and our senses with information and knowledge from the cloud or through intelligent autonomous systems. And these will help us perform our jobs better, whether that be as a teacher or as a surgeon or as an engineer designing solutions of tomorrow. These will help us more fully enjoy our lives in smart spaces for elderly assisted living, in self-driving cars, or just instantly and effortlessly meeting with others around the globe or getting answers to our questions. And it's all made possible with optics. Hey. All the 3D information from the cameras, the LiDAR, structured illumination, and all the interfaces to humans with amazing new displays and emerging 3D augmented reality. It'll all be done with amazing new optics. So the Grand Challenges Research Building will be the nexus for advancing the University of Arizona's leadership in these and other fields. And I want to deeply thank the university and the state representatives here and our amazingly supportive philanthropic community for all you've done to make this possible. On behalf of our faculty, staff, and students, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Tom. When we do, at least in my 2 years at the University of Arizona, when we do groundbreakings, when we build buildings, we like to bring up a representative of the kind of faculty that will be embodied in that building, so you can really hear from them. I'd like to introduce a researcher who represents the user of this facility and an actual genuine leader and visionary globally in the field of quantum optics, Dr. Saikat Guha. Saikat is a professor of optical sciences who joined us in the summer of 2017. He is the director of the engineering research center that Dr. Robbins discussed, called the Center for Quantum Networks. He has a pretty broad set of research interests, but really within the quantum world, quantum limits of optical communication, quantum secured communications, optical sensing. Both are evaluations of fundamental limits to how the tools from quantum information and estimation theory and associated problems, I've actually been told to say circuit synthesis problems, but and associated problems can be how those limitations can be understood and met. He's interested in the design of quantum repeaters for long-distance entanglement distribution, as well as continuous variable photonic quantum computing and quantum networks. What I like to say about all of this technology is that sometime in the lifetime of many of us, it will be a substitute for a great deal of the way that we communicate in terms of what the underlying technology is. And our goal is to make sure that the development of those companies that deliver entirely new technologies is done here in Arizona. In 2011, Dr. Guha received the Raytheon 2011 Excellence in Engineering and Technology Review, which is Raytheon's highest technical honor. And if you know anything about Raytheon, you know that the technical capacity there is prodigious. Receiving that higher honor has real meaning. SICOT was also the co-recipient of an honorable mention in the NSA's 2016 Cybersecurity Best Paper Award for a paper on quantum secure covert communications on bosonic channels. So now you know. But the point is that not only has he been deeply invested in this for a long time, he's really been deeply invested in helping us purpose build this building so that the interior design allows him to do the work that he and his team that he will do. Dr. Guha received his PhD in electrical engineering and computer science from MIT and went on to work for Raytheon in Waltham. I believe you worked in the Waltham office? Cambridge, and then came out here to Tucson to join us. Thank you, SICOT.
Thank you very much, Betsy, for that really kind introduction. Thank you, Dr. Robbins, for your encouraging words. And I was glad to hear about the excitement around the Center for Quantum Networks, and I'm really glad and happy and excited to be here at this historic moment. I'm the director of the Center for Quantum Networks. It's a 10-year-long, $50 million engineering research center that was funded by the National Science Foundation last year. So we are actually starting our first, thank you, our first annual site visit actually starts today. So I'm right after this talk, I'm going to go upstairs and to our first site visit. The Center for Quantum Networks, or CQN, is an ERC led by the University of Arizona. And we, in partnership with our core partner institutions, MIT, Harvard, and Yale University, along with 6 other affiliate partner universities, we are, I believe, the first national scale organized effort to take up on, head on, what I believe is one of the grandest challenges of the 21st century. And that challenge is of architecting the technological and the societal foundations of the quantum internet. Now, what is the quantum internet? Now, we heard a little bit, Dr. Robbins, about his mention of Zoom, so that reminded me of a connotation. I worked at BBN Technologies that was acquired by Raytheon in 2009 for almost 10 years, and BBN led the program called the ARPANET, which became the foundations of the current day internet. And I still remember talking to some of the founders of the ARPANET who worked in that program, if they could imagine Zoom or Facebook or any of these technologies that we have in our pockets today. And they could have no way envisioned that. That program was catered to connecting computers, to send a message from one computer to the other. And that's exactly where we are today. We have quantum computers getting to a point where we want them to be able to talk to each other, to be able to send quantum bits or qubits. These are quantum mechanical extension of the concept of the bit, the 0 and the 1, but that can stay in a superposition of a 0 and a 1. Being able to send these qubits to far-flung locations across the globe that the quantum upgraded internet will provide the access to, will create entanglement, a form of quantum mechanical correlation across long distances that will enable these computers to be able to talk to one another, to do powerful computations that are not possible by anything that we know today. These will enable sensors connected by entanglement, like telescopes, RF photonic sensors, various types of devices that can send qubits and be able to work together to look further into the universe, to be able to compute and sense things that we cannot do with any classical physics-driven technology. The CQN is the epitome of interdisciplinary research. We heard about the GCRBs. One of the missions is to empower inclusive and interdisciplinary research. CQN involves not just researchers from optical sciences, engineering, and physics, but also researchers from the College of Law, from social behavioral sciences, from economics, people with backgrounds in policy. And these people are working with engineers to envision the societal impacts and do research on those topics as we embark upon this historic journey. The CQN program will also launch a new master's program. So as of last week, we have our support from Dean Koch and Dean Hunt, engineering, and it will be on your desk soon, Betsy, for approval. The fourth floor of the GCRB, where CQN will live, was custom designed, every inch of that, by our CQN faculty members, postdocs, and students and administrators. And that floor was designed to host things like superconducting detectors, dilution fridges that will go down to temperatures below hundreds of millikelvins. These are temperatures that are colder than in outer space that will be required to hold and manipulate these qubits. So with that, I'm not going to take any more time, but I look forward to what the future holds for us and what the GCRB holds for us. And on behalf of the CQN team and all of us, the students and faculty, I really am grateful for this opportunity for us to live in this historic new facility. Can't wait for the future. Thank you.
I love how we're all looking over at this empty space when we talk about the building. Thank you, Dr. Guhai. I always appreciate hearing from you because you can make more real than many people in a very short period of time what the possibilities for quantum writ large are. Last but absolutely not least, I'm going to introduce James C. Wyant, Professor Emeritus of Optical Sciences and of Electrical and Computer Engineering at the University of Arizona, and the founding dean of the College of Optical Sciences, and perhaps not the creator of all of the vision, but the driver of all of our capacity to enable and think in a visionary manner. I have a long thing about where you got your degree and all of the, but I will say what Dr. Wyant has done for many prior to even coming here in terms of the development of new capacities that are used in the world today is prodigious. And also a holder of many, many, many patents. He was the founder of a company called 4D Technology, which many of us have heard of and worked with. He's a member of the National Academies of Engineering, the National Academy of Inventors, I like this one, the International Order of the Knights of Holography. He's a fellow, you have a sword, I want to join that then. It's like getting a doctorate in Finland. You get a sword when you graduate. We could do that at this university. A fellow of the SPIE and the Optical Society of America, a distinguished fellow of the Optical Society of India, an honorary member of the Optical Society of Korea, and former editor-in-chief of the Optical Society of America Journal Applied Optics. In April 2019, the College of Optical Sciences was renamed as the James C. Wyant College of Optical Sciences in Dr. Wyant's honor. Dr. Wyant.
Well, thank you very much. You know, today is really a dream come true for me, because for at least 15 or 20 years, I've been dreaming about a building in that parking lot. And now it's going to happen. That's fantastic. Well, we all know that people are the most important part of any organization. But in order to hire good people, you have to have good facilities. This building is very important. Now, allow me to go back to the year 1969. Optical Sciences Center, it was called then, was a small group of very good people, and they moved into that building right back there. And when they moved into the building, there was a lot of empty space because it was a small number of people. But the research grew, the number of people worked there grew, and 19 years later, in 1988, we had to build the building on the other side of this building, the building that we call the East Wing. So that was 1988. Well, after that, we grew, the research funding went up, we hired many more excellent faculty members, staff members, and had many excellent students. And 18 years after the East Wing, we built the West Wing, which is right here. That was in 2006. And I remember, maybe Nasser remembers, we did the groundbreaking for that right back there. And I tell you, what I remember most about it is how hard the ground was, actually. So that was 2006. Now we're 2021, and we're building a new building here that will open in, I think, 2024, which is 18 years after this building was built. You see a pattern here, 18, 19 years, a new building. And this new building, as we've already heard, is a very special building in many ways. And one thing I really like about it is that, well, first off, optical sciences will get approximately half the building. The other half of the building goes to other people in science, engineering, medicine, and so on. And throughout our history, we have been very good working with people in other disciplines. And actually, it's kind of easy for us because optics gets into everything. And so it's very easy for us to work with people in other disciplines. But now having many of these people in the same facility that we are in, the collaboration is going to be even better. Now, I have had a lot of people ask me, well, what are you going to do in the new building? And we just heard from Tom and SciCat some of the things that we're going to do there. But the funny thing is, when I look at these three buildings here, and I look at the research we're doing in these buildings now, almost none of that was thought of when the buildings were built. So I don't know what's going to happen in that new building during the next 50 years. But I do know it's going to result in a lot of great discoveries, a lot of great inventions, a lot of great companies will be started by the research done in that building. Furthermore, we're going to be training a lot of students, and these students will go on. Well, Tom gave some examples of past students, the great things that they do. They're going to go on and do their own research, own great discoveries, own inventions, and their own companies. So, fantastic things. The one thing I know is that fantastic things are going to come as a result of this new building. And so I would like to thank everyone who helped make this new building possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wyant. We are really grateful that you're able to be here with us today and see a third unit come up out of the ground. I'm going to just make a few closing remarks. I think it's important to acknowledge how many people, to really build on what you just said, played a role in enabling this building. The state played a role, and we are eternally grateful that the state of Arizona continues to play a role in allowing us to develop the funds to build buildings like this. We have an enormous number of supporters and champions within our own community, within Southern Arizona, across the state of Arizona, who've offered their time, their support, their expertise. So I'm just going to name a few. I know, don't get bored, it's okay. All of our elected officials have been incredibly enthusiastic and supportive of our capacity to do this, as well as the vision for this building. Doctor, I'll give you a doctorate if you. Ron Shootman is here from the Arizona Board of Regents and representing the incredible strong support from the Board of Regents. So thank you, Mr. Shootman. The design build team, I don't know if you really understand how much effort those guys put into making sure that this is right for all of the people who have the vision. The Office of Business Affairs, Planning, Design, and Construction, my unit, the Provost's office, the College of Optical Sciences. This is massively a team effort. Oh, I have a thing here. I'm not going to say that part. So we're going to start a shoveling ceremony now. That's actually kind of the fun part. And I would like to invite a few individuals up, but I'm actually super tempted. Could you all just stand? I'm going to take a picture from here. It's a unique place to be to see who has come to help us celebrate. And I don't usually remember to take a picture from the podium. So for our photo op, I would like to invite, and there's plenty of food out there. Please grab some on your way out. And thank you for joining us on this beautiful morning. Dean Koch, Dr. Wyant, Dr. Guha, Liesl Rolny, our CFO, JP Rosniak, Regent Schupman, the Provost, myself, the President. We'll go pick up pretty shiny shovels. I would love to have you all back when we do the grand opening ceremony for this building. It will be a building that makes you feel inspired to be in. And there is nothing like that. As a person who has spent my career building infrastructure to support the people who want to create and do things that have never been done before, this will be a really, really exciting place to be. And I hope that as it has its life as a research facility, we also come together many times on the first floor to celebrate each other and our, not just our building, but ourselves. We have not had enough opportunities to do that lately. So in 2024, please come back. And in 2025 and 2026 and 2027, we will continue to have celebrations, because that's really how we're going to be able to acknowledge to ourselves that we've done something remarkable. Thank you all. Let's go do a shoveling ceremony, and great appreciation for joining us to celebrate the lack of a parking lot next door.
For the first shot, check 1, 2, testing. Check 1, 2. Check. Check 1, 2. For the first photo op, could we please get Tom Koch, Jim Wyant, Saikat Guha, Liesl Rolny, JP Rosniak, and Regent Shootman.
It's in the way.
And then Dr. Cantwell. If President Robbins, Dr. Cantwell, and Provost folks could please remain down there. We're going to have another group. If we could get Robin Schambach, Gary Cobo, Brian Brown, Deborah Johnson, Lorna Gray, Nina Bates, and Brooks Jeffries, please.
I'm not sure if they can hear that down there.